We were supposed to have one more, I guess, actually, but unfortunately, he couldn't make it to the podcast, which is pretty sad because he was a really dope person, and I was looking forward to have this podcast, three of us together. Even though I'm not really into recording podcasts with more than one guest. So in that sense, it's kind of good that it's us. We can talk one-on-one because I have this problem that when it's more than one guest, I got a bit, how to say, confused. I cannot concentrate on two people in the same time. Maybe that's the reason that I also don't like threesomes. But as for now, I'm pretty happy that you're here. And that was the, how to say, only bad news for today. Thank you so much for joining our podcast.
My
Sebastian.
pleasure. Yeah.
Can you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure. I'm Sebastian. I'm from Indonesia. I'm 22, and I'm in my first year of my international business study in Natural Standen. And I just entered this uni in February, so I'm kind of like a
newbie.
the fresh student after in his 6th month in Leeuwarden. So I'm not really that accustomed to the city of Leeuwarden yet, but I'm trying my best now. So.
Fresh student only in here, not a fresh student in general, because it's worth mentioning that you're actually 22 years old, so you're the same age as me. But you're the first semester, because right now, just in case if you're watching this podcast after a long times, which I don't think anybody watches it, but if you do, we are right now in June 2024, right? It started February 2024, so it's really new. It's not even 6 months.
5 maybe.
Months.
I'll aim 5.
Yeah, soon.
But
10 years, 10 days, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be my birthday in like 2 weeks, by the way.
Oh, well.
Not 2 weeks, like 7 days, 8 days. It's gonna be my birthday.
Looking forward to it, bro.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna throw a party. I will eat you.
That's good.
Yeah, but that's the reason that I wanted to invite you to this podcast. Next to so many other reasons.
Yeah.
Because you're from Indonesia, and we had a really good conversations about all the things that are going there, the differences between Indonesia and the Netherlands, Western countries in general, the culture difference, and because you are also a religious guy to some extent.
Yes.
And you told me really interesting things. And but just to start from the thing that you already told me from the beginning, that you started your studies here. So you came here initially to Netherlands starting from University of Utrecht?
So short story was that I used to study in University of Utrecht from 2021 until 2023.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out, so I decided to go back to Indonesia and do my internship at an investment banking company for 6 months. For 3 months, from November 2023 until January 2024. It was an investment banking company called Maybank Kim Eng Securities. And from that experience, I learned a lot. How do you manage people in the office? And
what do you do there?
I was a research intern. So I was researching different kinds of investment banking companies and how they will invest in Maybank.
What kind of bank? It's obviously
investment banking. Yeah. So I was my duty was that I was researching like the financial health of different companies and whether Maybank should invest in them or like we were doing a lot of due diligence on whether we would accept the investments from other companies.
Oh, that's cool. Is it like financial editing, like auditing?
That was done in from a different division from Maybank, but in the research we just it's like we would like to most of what I did, if I could summarize it, was only checking the financial statements and their balance sheets, their profitability, employee morale, and etc.
So you check those things to understand if it's worth investing.
Yeah.
Is it similar to some extent like venture capitals when they are planning to invest in a startup?
Something similar.
But
the venture capital venture capitalists are mostly dealing with the National Stock Exchange, but Maybank is a private company, so they do not really do that much activities with the stock exchange, so there's a bit of difference in that. But not to go too far with the complexities of my internship.
No, you can go as far as you want.
No, but
There's no limit in it.
something that I could connect with my study in interest tendon is that they taught me a lot about how to use Excel and table formatting, pivot tables,
Oh
and
yeah,
etc.
of course.
It helped me a lot in my course of finance and accounting module. So
That's awesome
yeah.
that you learned those things.
Mhm.
Now I hate Excel.
Yeah.
Shit is annoying.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah,
And there's also this new thing,
interesting.
Power BI. It's like the Excel wasn't annoying enough, so
Mhm.
they introduced the thing that's even more annoying. Like,
Oh.
bro, come on.
Mm.
And it's like it looks like an extension of Excel. I don't really
Mhm.
understand why Power BI even exists.
Luckily, I didn't learn that in my internship. But Excel itself is actually kind of like a programming tool for financial specialists. So
It is.
yeah,
Uh, but you know, so
Mhm.
you know how to properly read the balance sheet and stuff like that.
yes, I can.
Okay,
I
that's
can,
good that
yeah.
I found it
Mhm.
out because I
Yeah.
wanted to learn about these
Mhm.
things. Because if I think to some extent, if you don't know how to read the balance sheet and
Mhm.
analyze it,
Yeah.
you're kind of illiterate as a business student because you have to. If
Mhm.
they put a balance sheet in front of someone,
Mhm.
or I don't know any
Yeah.
kind of financial. How to say report, and you look at it and you're like dumbfounded, you don't
Yeah.
understand anything. You cannot really call yourself a
No.
business student to some extent because
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
like the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's
Understood.
interesting that you know those things. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to you after the podcast, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna force you to educate me on that front.
No
And
pressure on that.
yeah,
No
and
pressure.
also, so how the knowledge that you learned
Yeah.
there
Mhm.
about reading balance sheet and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So how you can utilize it for? So do you think you can use it as a means of investment for yourself, like personally? Like for example, if you want to buy stocks,
Mhm.
is it different the way they read the balance sheets and stuff, or someone like you? Because people really like to buy stocks,
Mhm.
today, right? What is it called? CFTs. If you want to
NFTs, you mean?
not NFT,
Yeah,
CFT.
CFTs.
CFT is like the
Mhm.
ones that are
Yeah.
the single stock.
Okay. Mhm.
Not mutual
Yeah.
fund or those things, but it's like a single stock. Well, I think it was CFT. I mean, sorry if I'm
Mhm.
wrong, but I mean like single stock.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm right.
Yeah.
I don't know. If do you think that helps in choosing the right stock to buy?
It helps to a certain extent, but I may not be the best person to answer that because I don't do stock. I don't play with stocks myself.
Yeah.
But like introducing my interests now,
Yeah.
I like to read the daily news about politics, and then like the habit and the work ethic that I got from my internship, kind of like made me accustomed to reading more than 10 pages of text. And like when you're analyzing something, you're not just reading it for 1 minute and then you're done, but you're actually consuming it and you can
Ooh,
reflect it.
that's really good.
And like now, citing one of the courses in IB that we both have, the business transformers, where we have to do a reflection report. That skill of reflecting was actually helped by the fact that I was doing my internship. Like you really need to look at the numbers and the reference and whether you're sure that this experience or like the reputation of a certain company would be worth to invest. If you can connect it to how do you reflect yourself, then like you can filter which experience that you want to put and which experience that you don't want to put. So there are some overlaps between doing a reflection report about your life and how do
Wow.
you do due diligence when when you want to invest in a company.
That's
So,
something I never heard
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
for me, at least, reflection reports
Mhm.
are more like a self-awareness kind of
Yeah.
thing, like a
Mhm.
meditation side. I didn't
Mhm.
think that it actually has an impact
Mhm.
on the business
Yeah.
side of your life, like
Yeah.
the professional side.
Mhm.
And also, one thing that I really noticed about what you said is that there is quite a lot of difference, in my opinion. As far as I know, I'm not the expert. I have really
Yeah.
a limited,
Mhm.
limited, what's a
Mhm.
limited edition, limited
Yeah,
knowledge on
knowledge.
this subject matter.
Yeah.
But it seems that what you're doing is really similar to people who buy stock. Like, for example, the companies like
Mhm.
Warren Buffett and those guys who
Yeah.
buy
Yeah.
stocks,
Mhm.
buy shares in companies. Like, I don't know, what is the other one? Like a Tencent and all this, like was it BlackRock?
Yeah.
And what is it? Venture capitals, they
Mhm.
are really similar to what you do because they have like
Yeah.
two types of analytics also,
Yeah.
technical and
Mhm.
the other one which reading the news, reading their reputation and analyzing the products of the
Yeah.
company and comparing it to the how to say, other competitors in case of key selling points and KPIs and all the things like that to finally understand which one is going to perform better in the market. These are really interesting things, man. And honestly, some part of me always wondered that what could happen if I went into this industry, because since I was really young, I was really into products. And it happened many times that I was, for example, I saw a brand producing phones or, I don't know, gadgets or, I don't know, cars, even with the extreme cases with these new Chinese brands. I saw them and I was like, they just went public. And I thought myself, these shares are definitely going to skyrocket. And I couldn't buy any stocks because I have an Iranian passport, and it's difficult to buy stocks if you have an Iranian passport. Almost no stock thing is going to accept you. I signed up in this website called eToro. It has the same color as this. They closed my account and they took my money and they never give it back. So guys, if you're using eToro, be careful.
It's Oro. Yeah.
eToro, do you know it?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Have you heard that they also scam other people, or just only me?
I mean, I only know the biggest scammers were FTX. So.
Oh yeah,
FTX was the biggest
Sam
scammer.
Fried, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Sam Bank SBF.
Yeah.
There you go.
FTX.
FTX.
Yeah. But yeah, just be careful with all the websites. I don't know what happened to my account, but yeah, I lost some money without even losing stocks. I just signed up an account, I put money and I lost it. Great success.
Shoot.
And
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, but then after I lost the account, I found out the stocks of those companies that I bought them went like 70% up. And it happened million times, not million times, but a lot of times in my life that I always felt like, okay, I really like to go into these things. But I always approach it in the, how to say, not technical way, in the product and news way. And it's really interesting for me to also approach it, these money markets and stuff like that. How to say, I mean, it's not a money market, but it's still all these things in a case financial markets with the technical thing. Do you also have the technical knowledge of reading stocks, or you don't have that?
No, I'm not equipped to read those kind of things, because buying stocks are like, getting into the stock market itself is a high risk, high reward situation. And I'm not a risk-taking individual per se, so I wouldn't do something that I would regret in the end. But that's just me.
That's true.
That's
That's
just me,
true.
though.
That's really interesting, because you're so reserved and you always try to keep keep it safe and keep it cool.
Yeah, mitigating the risk, because getting back to my personal life, I live by myself, and every action that I do will need to. Has its consequences that I need to bear with. So I'm not with my parents. My parents are 16 hours away by flight. So
16 hours?
Yeah.
Shit, that's even further. Yeah, because I'm from Iran. Here to Iran is like 7 hours, and from Iran to Thailand is also almost like 7 hours. And Indonesia is pretty close to Thailand, so it's like...
Yeah, it's 4 hours by flight to Thailand. So
4 hours?
Yeah, to Thailand, and to Iran, I think it would be 8 hours itself.
Yeah.
There you go.
But where this belief is coming from, because based on the discussions that we had previously in the past few, we met each other like 1.5 months, 2 months ago, IB office.
2 months ago when the first time we met with Sarah, one of the one of the members of the digital SAB. So
Digital SAP. She will cut your head off if you call it digital SAB.
Oh no, sorry, Sarah. But
shout out to Sarah, by
Sarah.
the way. Sarah
she connects people that easy. So
yeah, Sarah is an OG, she's an original gangster. Shout out. But what I was saying is, where are these beliefs stemming from? Because based on the conversation that we had in the past 1 month, 2 months, you're a religious guy, as I previously mentioned. And it's really interesting, because in this generation, new generation, people like me, we are not really religious. Religious is always in the back of our mind, where we are so distracted. We previously talked about these things on this podcast. But tell me a bit, how is it that you're so God-minded in way, like you think about God, and also really a spiritual way?
I think there are 2 reasons why. Because the first reason would be that I spend my weekends mostly with my parents when I was still living with them in Indonesia, and I didn't have a lot of time to hang out with my friends in the weekends and etc. And even back then in high school, on Sundays I needed to take German language courses. And my dad took me to the German language course. The family bonding was so strong back then, even in my high school years. and that made me a bit different from my peers in my high school because they had all the freedom they had in the weekends just to do whatever they want. But my parents kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. But my parents were a bit conservative to me and my brother, wanting to put the mental like the culture that in the weekends it's only time for you to bond with with your family or like with your extended family. So when anything happens or anything is wrong, we can always gather and figure these things out. And like, I wouldn't say it's something that I am like ashamed of because well they're my parents. They give a lot of good advice to me, and they kind of like restrain me from several things that I would not want to do or like that would be dangerous for me back in my hometown in Jakarta. I think like my close connection with my parents helped me in a way that I would not do like crazy stuff in the weekends even here. So,
But
mhm.
okay, that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
So this whole mentality that you have to
Yeah.
be really conservative to some extent in a
Yeah.
good way
Mhm.
and try to keep it safe
Yeah.
has been installed in you by your parents.
Mhm.
And I cannot say anything bad about it.
Mhm.
I think that's great, honestly. And so when you were young,
Yeah.
when you
Mhm.
saw other children having fun,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mhm.
partying, and
Yeah,
other
yeah.
were getting
Mhm.
wasted and things like that. How was
Yeah.
it for you? You didn't feel jealous? You didn't fight with your parents? Like,
I-
why are you trying to
When I
raise me like
back
that?
then, I felt really jealous because I was not allowed to drive the car by myself, but my friends were allowed to do that. And well, I had a conversation even with my mom, like, why are my schoolmates why were my schoolmates allowed to drive the car but by themselves, but I was not. And then like she said, well, I mean, you're still young. I know. She told me, I know that you can drive your car. You have a driving license, but still, you're still my child. So, and the car is a family car.
Yeah.
It's not your car. If you have the money to buy your own car, then you can do whatever you want. But remember, this is the car that is bought by my money and your dad's money. So you should respect that.
Wow.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
you know, that's I think that kind of mentality is pretty common and
Yeah.
also
Mhm.
Far East Asian
Well,
East countries.
East Asian, Southeast Asian, that like that culture is strong. So
I
like,
think it's more stronger than Indonesia, for example. For example, if you compare South Korea and
Yeah.
Japan, I think they are more like your parents, isn't it?
well, there are some parents that are becoming more westernized in the past few years, but then like it will not be a surprise if you see parents like teaching their sons about the sense of belonging as a family, not only for yourself in the household. And also the second reason why, like, how did it go how did my personality was built in my household was that introducing the concept of filial piety.
What is that?
That is the responsibility of a child to respect their own parents and their own extended family.
Wow. And where does that come from? Is it like a philosophy?
It's a
and things?
philosophy from one of the religions in Indonesia called Confucianism. Confucianism was a religion brought from China, from the Chinese migrants coming from mainland China, and like the main concept of filial piety is that if the way I see it is that your parents raised you in a certain way, and they have fed you, they have taught you,
They have
and
invested in you,
yeah,
maybe.
and then like they're hoping for the best of you until you're financially independent, and then after you're financially independent, you are expected to give something back to them, but not in a material way, but then like at least take care of them, or like give a visit to them at least once a month, or like give them a call, or have some family gathering again, just like the old days. And especially in my extended family, that concept still exists, because if I can take example, during Easter holidays, during the Islamic holiday of Eid al-Fitr, because my family is mixed Catholic and Muslims, we have Catholic members, Catholic family members, and Muslim family members. We always celebrate the two different religious holidays together, and I can, and those family gatherings would count into like 30 people in one house. So it's pretty strong in my family, I would say. And in even after COVID, it's still happening. So that is kind of like something that I'm proud of from my extended family, that we still give back to each other no matter what, and every problem can be solved in a family gathering and a family discussion.
But
Yeah.
you're Catholic, right?
Yeah, I'm
So
Catholic.
what is this Confucianism thing? Is it also it's so it originally Confucianism was a religion,
In China.
yeah, in
Yeah,
China,
yeah.
but now in your country it's being used as a kind of philosophy, as a thinking way, right? And the Muslim part of your family, are they also obeying the Confucianism, and are they also
Well, the Confucianism as a religion in Indonesia only accounts for like 1% of the population. But then in my family, since we are a diverse family regarding of ethnic background and religious background, we would like to understand the different cultures coming from these backgrounds, and like at least the way I see it, like the patriarch in my family is like the family member who controls everything, and we respect him a lot because he has done a lot to our family. He wants to instill the Confucianist concept to us because, like, in the end, if we don't have anyone to count on from our friendship side, then who else would be there besides our family? And also, back then, the patriarch in my family was like raised in a, let's say, in a modest household, and he was introduced to different kinds of beliefs when he was a child. In like, it was Indonesia in the 1960s and 70s, and then yeah, he met a lot of different kinds of people during his schooling. So he got introduced to the Confucianist concepts, and that's why he felt that the concept was like was full of respect to
Wow.
the family members, and it is still glued to our personalities even until now. Even I think
Wow.
the fact that I'm the third generation to still instill that with myself.
That's
Yeah.
staggering. Do you know
Yeah.
why? Because when you talked about Confucianism originally back in the conversation that we
Yeah.
had like 1 month ago,
Yeah.
I thought this is something that you guys have like hundreds of years ago from back the really old days. And I didn't think that back in 60s this was being just implemented in your family. Because I don't think in the past few centuries, people
Yeah.
usually do not get really acquainted with the new religious and
Yeah.
concepts like that. People don't think deep that much, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's for me, it's really surprising that this whole thing is a new thing for a family. I
Yeah.
thought it's back in like 20 generations back. And so, to some extent,
Yeah.
do you think everything that your parents stand for in the way that they raised you is stemming from Confucianism?
I would say so. And then like one important factor that kind of like made my family having this strong Confucianist beliefs is that the fact that, well, again, going back to the patriarch of my family, he was the first one to study and live in a different city from his hometown. So like the exposure that he had meeting different people on his own gave him like a sense of a culture shock, but in a good way.
So he's technically your grandfather, right? Or
He's the uncle of my mom.
uncle of
Yes.
your
Mom.
mom. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not actually, you're not actually exactly
No,
under his patriarchy, but still he's influenced the brother of him who was your
Yeah,
grandfather,
yeah.
probably.
Yes.
But okay, and that's interesting.
Mhm.
And who is, you told me something when we were talking about it, that there is this thing in Confucianism that
Yeah.
there is one person who is the boss of the family, not boss
Yeah.
like in the way he is
the patriarch, like
Patriarch, that's what
the
you mean.
patriarch,
So-
yeah.
and then the next patriarch will be selected by him.
Not selected by him, but it's like an agreement from the whole family, like who will take the baton, or like who will take the next.
So do they
Yeah.
already know who's it gonna be?
We'll see about that, but we do not want that conversation to be to be exposed in the family because
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
nobody knows it.
nobody knows who it is. But I mean, in my family, I'm trying to be like respectful to my elders, and whenever there's gathering, I always have conversations with them, g- uh, keeping the family unit, the family
United.
bond strong. So
And
we will help each other a lot in the end, and I'm happy for that.
imagine you become the next
Mhm. Yeah.
Patreon, for
Mhm.
example.
Yeah.
What are the responsibilities that you have? How makes it different from the other grandchildren?
Yeah, well, we always, as a patriarch, we need to check on each other and like make sure that the family is that the family bond will still be strong as ever, and the patriarch will decide when the family gathering will take place, and if someone needs help, the first person to go for help is the patriarch.
Wow, so
Mm.
beautiful. And you know, I think Confucianism to some extent is just a name for something that exists in many Eastern countries, you know?
Mhm.
They just don't call it Confucianism to some extent because
Well, for example, in South Korea they call it shamanism, and in Japan it's called Shintoism.
but it's all coming
It's
stemming from the same
it's
thing.
a similar concept between Confucianism, shamanism, and Shintoism.
Wow, it's so
India.
cool.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking
Mhm.
that also in the old school families in Iran, where I'm from, it's
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
They can't, I think this. If you want to say it in the
Mhm.
bullet points?
Yeah.
What is the other thing that you said?
Filial piety.
Filial piety and Confucianism. What are they exactly standing on? So, what I understood, just to summarize it also for our audience, one thing is trying to be valuable towards the things that you receive from your family.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, for example, what you said about not to drive the car and being, I mean, that's being valuable towards
Yeah.
other are the things that you get.
Yeah.
Also, being how to say respectful
Mhm.
towards the regulations and
Yes.
all the
Mhm.
boundaries that
The
your
boundaries.
parents
Yeah. Yeah.
give you. For example,
Mhm.
driving the car, or I said not,
Mhm.
or as you say, not going out and having
Yeah.
a lot of weird things to do and drugs and stuff
Well,
like that. Being
Mhm.
third one is probably being connected to God and having a spiritual side of yourself. Fourth
Yeah,
one is
that's
probably
important. For
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Fourth one is
Mhm.
being connected to your family and keeping the
Mhm.
bond together,
Yeah.
respecting them,
Mhm.
respecting the patriarch,
Yeah.
and that's as far as I understood.
Mhm.
Is there anything that I'm missing, you think?
Well, let's say, well, it goes back to the respect to the family members.
Yeah.
Is that after one of your family members passes away, we need to visit their grave, and we need to pray for their good spiritual being up there in heaven. So yeah.
But is it Confucianism getting a bit how to say blurred these days? Like, is it losing? Is it fading?
I can see from my schoolmates it's losing its grip on several families, but that's just how it is. But then the way I see Confucianist beliefs being the grip in my family is that it's a kind of like a moral boundary for us, the family members, that, well, there are more important things than just material things that will just be joyful for like one night or maybe for like 2 nights, and you just don't know what you're doing. But like when you go back to your own family and then you cherish your life in the end, and well, you're giving back something to your parents. I think it's more beautiful than just, I don't know, playing around and
Ah.
doing God knows what.
What is it saying? Like
Yeah.
delayed gratification. That's one of my favorite
There you
terms.
go.
It's so
Yeah.
cool. It's
Mhm.
like I learned it from Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
But yeah, mind blowing, man.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking when we
Mhm.
talk about it? How this thing. I don't want to sound like a
Mhm.
how to say Patreon, or I don't want to impose anything on anyone. I just my opinion.
Mhm.
It would be nice if these things could be implemented back in the
Mhm.
Western cultures, because I'm sure they also had things to some extent like
Yeah.
this back in 100 years ago, and I think these are things are, I don't know, it's beautiful, respecting your
Mhm.
parents,
Yeah.
being close to each other, keeping the family bond,
Yeah.
and I think Muslims have it. I think they have it. Don't you think so?
I cannot say that much about it because, like, I mean, even the Muslim family members that I have,
Yeah.
they're not really that devout per se
Yeah.
as a Muslim, according to their holy book, of course.
Yeah.
But then, like, again, since we are a mixed religious family, we do not want to put religion first
Yeah.
as our main conversation. Yeah, we do pray every time we meet,
Yeah.
but like religion is just like like our cultural identity.
That's the thing
Yeah,
I was
there you go.
thinking about, because you, for example, the Western countries like Europe, in West Europe especially, Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, all these Nordic countries. Well, it's Christianity. We have the people who don't believe in anything, and we have
Yeah.
Muslims to some extent. I always thinking that Confucianism, if it could be introduced
Mhm.
in some way, it could be umbrella for all these religions,
Mhm.
because now
That's
you
true.
see that so many religions are clashing into each other, extreme
Yeah.
Islamists, or
Nah.
I don't know, doing stuff, and
Mhm.
I don't know, all these things, and this is not good. Of course, we don't want that. And also left wings like Marxists are also
Mhm.
clashing with those. It's just the situation might get a bit chaotic to some extent. And I was thinking myself that maybe Confucianism in some way could be a mediator between all these
Yeah.
different opinions, because
well,
they all
yeah.
go back to the same thing.
It can solve the cultural polarization that is happening in Western Europe, I can see. And well, the thing that I struggle the most living in the Netherlands is that when I'm always tempted to, well, in the weekends, let's say, to well, not hanging out, because hanging out is just like a soft word for like having fun in the end. But then, like, yeah, the culture of students here, like, they go to clubs, they go clubbing, and then the fact that they need to drink a lot of alcohol before going to the clubs. Well, uh, during the holiday, during the May break, I used to do that because I thought it was fun, but
Yeah.
then I didn't enjoy it, and bad things happened to me. I was not being responsible for myself, and yeah,
It diminishes your
it-
discipline.
discipline, and also I'm not being myself. I was letting other people define what fun is to me. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's
and then, like,
important
of
goal.
course, having fun to different for a certain person is different to others in the end, and that's not what I want. I'm just seeing like temptations around me, and I'm how do you say it? Giving in to the temptations and let other people decide for myself. Not I'm deciding for myself, and
Yeah.
that is the worst mistake that I did. Luckily, I got out of it, and I was almost addicted to alcohol, to be honest.
That's
But-
quite fast to get addicted to alcohol,
Yeah.
considering that you've tried it like a few months ago. But okay, I take it.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like in the culture, in the family, in the culture that I'm raised back in Indonesia, like we see alcohol. Well, of course we can drink it. We can do it when we're hanging out with friends, with our family. Even like my dad and I are like,
Yeah.
we're both like wine people. So well, if we wanna enjoy the day, like in a sunny day in front of the river,
Yeah.
then we can just go to the cafe or like to the
Some kind of
bar,
bar.
and order wine and like finish it and
Also,
like
you still drinks. some
Yeah,
alcohol, but-
just a chill drink to have a bun. We don't need to like drink a lot to get drunk and yeah.
Yeah, I think going to club in
Yeah.
its own thing is not
Mhm.
a bad thing, in
Yeah.
my opinion. The only problem is the, how to say, negative consumptions that
Yeah.
are on the side, like alcohol,
Mhm,
drugs.
Yes.
Those are the bad
And then
things.
like the thing is, the way that I'm similar to my dad is that alcohol is just like a pastime. We don't need to make ourselves to lose ourselves and lose our consciousness just because of alcohol. Because well,
Yeah.
if you let's just say that you drink beer, wine, or anything that is in a bar and
Yeah.
with your friends, just chilling, talking about your life and etc. I would say that's
Yeah,
now I realized it now that is what I enjoy. So
Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm. And sometimes I get called boring because I only enjoy this kind of things. But then, I mean, who are these people to judge?
But you know what's the
In
thing?
end.
I always think about
Mhm.
parenting to
Yeah.
some extent. And what I think is how you can raise your child in
Mhm.
a way
Yeah.
with this kind of mindset that
Yeah.
your parent did. Because your
Yes.
parent did a great job, honestly.
Well-
I was looking at their son. It was like, great job.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
success.
Yeah.
But the thing
Yeah.
is, to some extent, it backfires if you
Mhm.
try to like impose or give these ideas to your children. They
Mhm.
become rebels sometimes. They
Yeah.
start hating
Mhm.
it, and you know,
Yes.
how to say, extreme right produces extreme left.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
your child becomes against whatever they stand
Yeah,
for.
well,
So
mhm.
how did your parent manage it? And if, for example, to people who want to implement it
Mhm.
in your
Yeah.
in their children,
Mhm.
how should they do that without their
I
children
would
start
say the
hating them?
children themselves need to experience like the opposite of what their parents told them to do, because well, my parents told me don't get drunk, don't get drunk at all, because like that's
Yeah,
not a state that you want to be in. Well,
you did get drunk,
I did get drunk,
and eventually you found
like
out.
several times, and I found out no, this is not what I wanted. I feel stupid for doing
But
this
you
in
know
the end.
what's the sad thing?
Yeah.
You look at the,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's also social media amplifies these things to some extent, so I
Mm-hmm.
cannot say that it's
Yeah.
exactly happening everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but the respect towards teachers, towards parents,
Yeah.
is diminishing to some extent. I was reading an article about the new rules in Canada, for example.
Mhm.
Canada is really going left, as
Left
you know,
wing. Mhm.
really going left
Yeah.
because of this guy Mark Rutte, that everybody hates him also.
Canada or the Netherlands?
Sorry, Mark Rutte. That was in Netherlands.
Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau. I always-
that guy.
sorry.
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau,
Trudeau.
not Mark
Mhm.
Rutte. I don't even know about Mark Rutte that much, but Justin Trudeau, because
Yeah.
of him, they are going like really left, and
Mhm.
everybody are starting to hate that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he is like a vice president, prime minister,
Prime
sorry,
minister
prime
of-
minister, and
yeah.
he comes to say like, I'm a feminist. Like, if you say
Oh,
that,
yeah.
who do you think you are? You think you're an activist or something?
Mhm.
I mean, if you're a prime minister and feminist, that's already done.
Mhm.
You already know what's gonna happen. No need
Mhm.
to. But yeah, it's just you see this. I was saying, I was reading an article
Mhm.
in a pretty legit website that there is
Mhm.
this regulation that as a student you can basically do anything towards your teacher. You are not obliged to respect your teacher or listen to what they say.
Mhm.
You can just basically do anything you want in
Mhm.
the school against your teachers, and there's no consequence. It's like the students are becoming the boss of the school, which
Mhm.
is mind-blowing, because the teacher is supposed to share their experience and tries to educate the kids. But if you're like 10 years old, 15 years old, and you already think that you're sorted out and you can impose your ideas on
Mhm.
everybody, that's gonna be terrible. And that's the place that when I think about the things that you say about Confucianism,
Mhm.
my mind gets blown away, because these things they're beautiful. I think some
Yeah.
things are supposed to be the way they are, but I think I'm talking too right wing in this podcast. But
No,
yeah,
yeah. In my opinion, like I don't think that the teacher should impose their authority to them, but I would say from my conversations that I have with the international business professors and
Yeah.
lecturers is that well, they're I understand that they're humans. They're not the perfect human
Yeah,
being that I could think
yeah.
of. So in the end, we do need to have mutual respect.
That's
would
the
say,
thing.
yeah.
I think in here it's perfect.
Mhm.
In NHL, it's just perfect, because we are
Mhm.
really close to our teachers.
Yeah.
We respect them,
Mhm.
and they also respect us. And
Yeah.
this is just a fine balance,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Shout out. I hope it stays the way it
Mhm.
is right now, because my classmates, we all respect our teachers enormously,
Mhm.
and we are learning from them. Of course we criticize them. Of
Yeah.
course we talk behind their back, but at the end of the day, there is always that learning happening,
Mhm.
and I'm happy about it.
Yes.
This is great, but many things.
Yeah.
How is the relationship between Christians and Muslims in Indonesia? How do they get along with each other? Is it hard?
It was a rough patch, like before I was born. Let's just say I was born in 2002, but 2 years before I was born, there were church bombings,
Oh, shit.
like 3 times I think in a year, and then it became like a theme every 5 years that there were church bombings and etc. But I mean, in the end, these people are just misled by the so-called clerics that exist in Indonesia, and they just want to eradicate all of the non-believers in their opinion.
Kafir,
Yeah, kafir.
which is like
Yeah.
anybody who is not Muslim.
Anybody who doesn't believe in Allah or like
Yeah.
God according to what the Quran says.
But then also it says like, if you're
Mhm.
Christian, you're also kafir to some extent, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
If you're Christian,
Mhm.
you're still considered as kafir, isn't?
In Indonesia, some people think like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because then the church, I don't know,
Mhm.
it's sad.
Yeah, but
But
if
is
I
it-
see, I do not want to get too deep into like the issues between the Christians and the Muslims in Indonesia.
yeah,
But then, in my opinion, I would say again, the one thing that you mentioned about me was being restrained and do not. I'm not exposing my true beliefs to others because that's a personal belief in
Yeah.
the end. And like, if I wanna, if someone is Muslim, if I see someone Muslim like in the office
Yeah.
or like at school, then it's just who
Yeah,
they
that's
are.
how it's supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
but I think how is it right now? Are they get along with each other? Usually very good, I guess, right?
Uh,
Christians and Muslims in Indonesia.
I mean, in my circle, there are some instances that like some of my friends would be like offended when like I or like my other Christian or Catholic friends are saying some things about Muslim beliefs,
Mm.
but then, well, it's just our opinion and we have our own
Yeah, I
view
just
about
think because I think religions initially were supposed to unite us,
yeah.
but sometimes with religions crashing or
Mhm.
religious people and non-religious people clashing, it's just other way around. It's just dividing people.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how we can get to this
Mhm.
unitedness between all
Yeah.
people. That would be very beautiful, right?
Mhm.
And then still, I think in Indonesia, the situation is to some extent better than many other countries. Is because you have this.
Well, as a really religiously diverse country, I would say it has successfully toned down the extremism
That's really
in
awesome.
Indonesia, and I am proud that the president of Indonesia has done a great job trying to moderate the people in terms of their religious beliefs.
Yeah.
He always said you need to be Indonesian first, then you can
Yeah.
mention your religion, and that is something that, in my opinion, some Western European leaders
Yeah.
fail to do. They do not want to stress that you are who you
National identity.
yeah, you are your national identity first, then you can say whatever you want.
That's
There you go.
that's really reminds me of the
Yeah.
case of Iran, because
Yeah.
Iran used to be like that before Islamic
Mhm.
Revolution, but then we had
Mhm.
the fanatics, like religious fanatics, like
Mhm.
extremists, like
Mhm.
people that you already know that how to
Mhm.
say it the other way around. They were
Mhm.
like, you're first Muslim, then you're Iranian, which so
Wow.
many people liked it, but
Mhm.
majority of people they say like we
Yeah.
are first Iranian, then we are Muslim. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
And like the thing is, again, the political polarization of Western Europe, I would say, is that when you say that you are, let's say, if you're Dutch first or you're
Yeah.
Spanish first or you're Portuguese first, you will be considered a xenophobe just because you don't want to consider other cultures. But how is that being a xenophobe? That's just
that's insane. A friend
yeah.
of mine told me
Mhm.
that in Germany, if you put
Mhm.
a flag of Germany
Yeah.
outside your home, it's
Yeah.
considered as like a how to say racism.
hate crime.
What the hell? That's
Hate
insane.
crime.
That just
Yeah.
why can't you be proud of,
Of your own native.
You know what? If I get a
identity.
house,
Yeah.
I would put a Dutch flag in front of it.
Yeah.
And anybody says anything to me, I'm like, I'm not even Dutch,
Mhm.
so you cannot
Yeah.
call me racist.
Yeah.
I'm not even Dutch, but I have the flag in
Mhm.
front of my own. You
Yeah.
can choke on that.
Yeah.
It's just what's I mean. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's really freak. I'm not even Dutch, and I'm still getting bothered when I see people are
Yeah.
saying these
Mhm.
things. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
But
Good.
how do you compare the Utrecht University to NHL? By the way, Just
I would
curiosity.
say something similar is that they instill the mentality to us that we need to survive by our own pace. You cannot depend too much on others. And then like the Utrecht and NFL Standen has like a concept that we give you all of the materials on Blackboard because Utrecht
Yeah.
University also does Blackboard system with us, and we will let you do it
Mm.
yourselves and
Yeah.
figure it out yourselves. If you want to like do something with it and make the best report, make the best project there is,
Yeah.
it's your choice. If you do not want to do that, it's your own choice also.
Yeah.
And that is what I see some students are like missing is that, well, let's just say we thought that the teachers would help us from point zero, but that's not the case because like in the Dutch education culture, after 18 you're considered an adult, so you need to figure out things by yourself.
And it was really hard for me to get along with that fact.
Yeah, there you go.
And what are the main differences between Utrecht and here, you
I
think?
think, well, Engelstanden is applied sciences university, so they don't teach you too many abstract theories.
Yeah.
They don't give you academic journals to study, but they give you well, group projects which account for more credits than the written exam itself. So they value more teamwork, and then something that doesn't exist in Nutra is the business transformers
Yeah.
course, which is reflecting on every module that you had. And I think the business transformers course to me is like I would say it's like a psychological
Yeah.
a psychological test, and then like a test that determines whether this is the right study for you, kind of like after you enter the study. And
That's
yeah,
that's interesting.
that's deep actually. When I asked my study coach about it, then that's what business transformers is for.
Yeah, because most of the people think business transfer is absolutely useless.
That's what most of my classmates
Yeah,
like to say.
almost everybody
yeah.
think that. But
Mhm.
apparently it's not as useless as.
Yeah.
Because guys,
Mhm.
please don't write your portfolios with ChatGPT. Just sit behind your fucking desk and
Yeah,
write.
that is good advice.
Don't
from
run
Ali.
away-
I
yeah.
can attest to that.
Yeah, don't run away from yourself.
Yeah.
But
Use your own ideas.
yes,
Yeah, there you go.
and you're really proactive.
Mhm.
Really proactive. You're a overachiever, and Sarah is overachiever too to some extent, and
no,
I like that.
well, I mean, I'm trying just to build networks in this uni, and
Yeah, and also
yeah.
networks and
Yeah.
man, so many things to talk about. We have to record another episode if it will be possible later on.
Mhm.
Because I didn't get to any of the educational things.
Yeah.
Because the
Mhm.
thing that you
Yeah,
say,
it's good. No
how
worries.
this proactiveness is influenced by your family. Because I had so many friends back in the days in
Mhm.
Iran that were raised in that way, that their parents were really strict about the
Mhm.
grades,
Yeah.
score,
Mhm.
like a typical like a Asian type of parenting,
yeah.
that you should get the best score, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. For some kids, they didn't work out because they become drug addicts at the end of the day.
Oh.
Some yeah.
Okay.
So that's also a case that you have to
Yeah.
take it into account, that
Mhm.
if you don't do it well, your kids might end up becoming what you're the most scared of. But
Yeah.
to some extent, it worked out.
Mhm.
How come that you also really proactive? You're working for European Union to some extent, for on EU and
No,
stuff like that.
I did a short advanced program for the Run EU about European values and the 2024 European elections. I'm part of the IBCO social media team, and then I'm also a student buddy for the high school students that are interested in applying for Engelstanden.
And you're always studying also in IBFS. My question is, but where
No.
this belief is coming
Mhm.
from? Is
Yeah.
it also influenced by your family and Confucianism to some extent, you think, or is some conclusions that you made it totally by yourself?
It's like, it's my kind of thinking that, well, if you want to distract yourself with something out of your study, and like giving yourself like stress
Yeah.
relief, let's just say by doing the
Yeah.
IBCO social media work, I have interviewed a lot of teachers in the
Yeah.
end, and that made me understand what the teachers actually stand for, and and
What is it?
let's say when I did the interview with the exam committee of IB, and that made me understand what is plagiarism, and how
Mm.
do the exam committee grades the students, what are the prerequisites to pass or fail a student, and then understanding that teachers are human beings. That's what I got from the interview with the exam committee, and and like it's using social media for the greater good of IB, because we like to promote a lot of activities together. And I think that's like something connected to my study, that I don't need to work too much with that. It's just like contacting people, making networks, building a social life, and
Well, okay.
yeah.
Do you pray?
Yes, I do.
I'm just trying to connect all
Mhm.
the dots together.
Mhm.
Your discipline, the family
Mhm.
influence, your religion. Really nice,
Mhm.
honestly. I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah.
Keep
Thank
it
you.
Up. Keep it up.
Yeah.
I like to be like that to some extent,
Hmm.
because I'm also trying to connect to God and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think it's really good for
Mhm.
everybody. Meditation, and trying to give some
Mhm.
discipline to your life. It's really hard. It's how you don't get distracted.
With
Like,
what?
Everything. Like, but I mean, we mentioned parties, but then we have the social media,
Yeah, yeah.
Instagram, all the things that you can get distracted with.
Yeah.
How you manage? What's keeping you away from these distractions?
Well, I've experienced bad things if I'm distracted to like a lot of things, to like the
Yeah.
temptations around me. So, well, again, I'm not encouraging people to take too many risks or like try everything there is
Yeah.
possible in this country
Yeah.
or like in your student life. But then, like if you already know that some things are bad for you, then don't do it. Don't do it again. And like if you regret it, all right, you made a mistake. You can improve yourself, and then you need to move on.
That's probably because most of the people they don't even know they don't have this mindset installed.
Yeah.
That's what is bad, what
Well,
is
I mean,
good.
to be honest, for me, I need to know what is bad to not do it again.
The
Be-
problem is,
yeah.
that goes to the first step that many people they don't even know what is bad. Some people think that drinking alcohol and getting drunk and not following their studies properly and being how to say confused,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Well, for me, like I need my sleep, so
Yeah,
I need my sleep like almost every day. So
Speaking
yeah,
of that, these
yeah.
days I'm sleeping so much. I don't know what's
Mhm.
up with me. Yesterday I slept 12
Mhm.
hours.
Yeah.
Literally 12
Mhm.
hours.
Yeah.
Last night I slept at 11, like 10:30.
Yep.
Today I woke up at
Mhm.
7:30. I had 2 coffees. And bro, I'm falling asleep in front of the camera right now. I
Oh.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
up with me. I
Mhm.
just want to sleep. But I think it's the weather.
Mhm.
Whenever it gets close to summer, I become like that. I hope it goes away soon. I'm
Mhm.
really tired of
Yeah.
sleeping the whole time. But yeah. So as I said, there are many things to talk about. We
Mhm.
can go really deeper into these
Yeah.
subject matters. But it was a really interesting conversation with you, man.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I really appreciate your presence here. It
Mhm.
was a pleasure
Yeah.
to talking to you. As much as I was sad that
Likewise.
my friend couldn't join this podcast,
Mhm.
but I think it was for the better
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you already have so many things to share that we could have like 3 hours
Yeah.
more of this podcast.
Well,
And hopefully
luckily, I'm in a safe space to share this with you. So.
my boy. Yeah, don't worry about
Yeah,
it. We
yeah.
almost have no viewers, so
Mhm.
nobody will find out
Yeah,
about your
that's cool.
secrets. You can say anything you want, and nobody
Mhm.
will ever
Yeah.
find out about it. So, yeah, thank you for coming to our
Mhm.
podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if we had the time and if we were not lazy,
Mhm.
we will record another
Yeah.
episode for you guys. If you have any questions, I mean, who am I even asking? Nobody's
Yeah.
watching. But if you have any questions, let's just pretend that there
Yes.
are people. If you have any questions, please send it to our email. And I don't know our email, just find it out yourself and send it to ours. And we will definitely never check it out. But still, we will think about our own questions. So, yeah, take care. Ciao.
Ciao. Right.